All right, everyone, we start off today talking about the cancer metastasizing across the United States, which is the court cases against Donald Trump's ballot eligibility. Again, he has not been convicted of any crime at this time, let alone insurrection. J6 was ruled not to be insurrection, or at least Trump's adjacency to it was ruled against by the U.S. Senate in his second impeachment proceeding. So he was accused by the House. He wasn't convicted by the Senate. Ergo, really, that shouldn't play a role in any state court decision. Yet now you have New York and California joining in, trying to keep him off the ballot. But the thing is that makes absolutely no sense because there's no actual charge of insurrection. It doesn't exist. If you don't have a charge of insurrection, then even if you construe the Insurrection Act as, number one, being contemporary, some legal scholars think it basically just has to do with Reconstruction, so it no longer matters at all. If you construe it as contemporary, and you construe it as involving presidents, which again is, that was ruled against in several states, Colorado, of course, ruling against Trump on this particular token. Even if you do that, there's no actual charge to go on. I would like to point out that effectively the people that are pretending to defend democracy are the ones actually destroying it by trying to take away your vote and my vote. I will vote for Donald Trump in the primaries if the state of Vermont, for example, to say no, Trump can't be on the ballot, I would write him in. I'm not going to be silent about this. I would do that. I would encourage everyone else to do the same, regardless. If SCOTUS does not weigh in, that is, that they punt the case, they don't weigh in before any particular primary or caucus, number one, or they don't weigh in at all, number two. Or if they rule against Donald Trump, which would be insane, but that's a possibility. Not necessarily a likelihood, but it is possible that they do that. I would encourage everyone to write him in anyway, because clearly he is eligible to run for the presidency, having been convicted of no crime that would fall broadly under the header of insurrection, having not been charged with any such crime other than an accusal by the House, which was blocked by the Senate. The Senate voted to exonerate him and say, no, he did not foment insurrection. I would also point out the self-evidence of Trump's non-adjacency to anything, even if you assume J6 was an insurrection, which it wasn't, and it wasn't ruled as such. Even if you assume that, Donald Trump, if you listen to his speech, which was about 20 minutes prior to the events that happened at the Capitol, you're not going to find any language there that could be construed as incitement. If it were, because Orange Man bad, I'm sure that a D.C. court already would have taken up a case years ago against Donald Trump and at least charged him with inciting a riot. They would have already done that, because Orange Man bad. The legal system is entirely geared against this man. The persecution level is extreme. Effectively, Orange Man bad is the moniker of the entire legal system right now. He's charged with almost 100 different felony counts in 4 different courts. Do you think that they would be reluctant, if they thought there was any case at all, to at least charge him with incitement to riot or incitement to violence? I think that they would, definitely, I think that they would be most amenable to doing so. But somehow it slipped their minds, and they never did so. It's inexplicable. I thought Orange Man bad. Well, you claim, up and down for years, in the legacy media, that this man incited a riot, if not an outright insurrection. Why was he never charged with that? He's charged with business fraud, in a case that even liberals are skeptical about going through. He's charged with retaining classified materials improperly, something that Biden and Pence also did, but they're somehow not getting in trouble for the same thing, despite at the very least Donald Trump is capable of asserting executive privilege. Pence was a VP, not a president. Joe Biden retained documents before he was president. Those are apples to oranges comparisons. Yeah, they're still fruits, but they're a different kind of fruit. Not everyone likes both apples and oranges, you know. Sometimes you like one or the other. I like oranges a lot. I'm not a big fan of apples, actually, unless they're turned into apple cider. But they're not the same. He's charged under RICO with the Fulton County case, which is, again, another case that even the liberals are saying, I don't know that this is really going to work. With Letitia James, you've got a separate case. That involves property. It involves money. It's a white-collar crime that he's alleged to have committed. And by the way, again, another case that may entirely fall through. You may see all of these cases fall through, and none of them have anything to do with insurrection. They have to do with RICO and election tampering, which is hilarious considering what's going on right now, and fraud and things like that, business fraud, tax evasion, basically. Those are the things that he's been charged with. He hasn't been found guilty even of any of those cases. He hasn't been found guilty at this time of any crime. I'm scratching my head trying to think how even a partisan court like the court in Colorado could possibly think that he's ineligible, therefore, to run for the office when there's no actual charge against him. None of the charges have to do with insurrection. If found guilty of every single felony and charged with 400 years in goddamn prison, Donald Trump still would not be an insurrectionist. He would still be eligible for the ballot. The way forward is quite clear. People need to take more responsibility for their republic. We need to do more. We can't just sit back and rely upon Donald to solve all of our problems. I warned people of this in 2016, actually, that if there was no further effort, if it was just, hey, elect Donald Trump, you're going to get some mild reform and that's all you can hope for. It looks like that's probably going to happen again. It's better than the alternative. It's better than having Kamala Harris in office. And by the way, a vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris for commander-in-chief. That should fucking terrify you. Imagine Hillary Clinton, only less intelligent. Yeah, that sounds like a real great time, considering all that's going on. Did you know that they're currently revamping the airbase that dropped the bomb on Japan? Did you know that? I'll be talking about that in my live stream later. The Biden administration is revamping Tiananmen Air Base at the moment. This should fucking terrify you. But people are clueless. Other than the clankers, I like to think that all of you that are watching this video are reasonably well informed because I try to keep up with the news and try to tell people in brief what the fuck is happening. But Jesus fucking Christ, tell your fucking relatives, tell your fucking friends that things are fucked up right now because they self-evidently are. We have an attack on democracy masquerading as the defense of democracy. We have wars and rumors of wars. We have pretty much everything going wrong that we could possibly have going wrong. We need to re-elect Donald Trump. Knock on doors, harvest a couple ballots. If everyone puts in a minuscule amount of effort, one fucking day out of your life, just one day, that's all it'll take. It's going to be impossible for them to get enough freshly inked mail-in ballots or ballot printers going brrr in order to override us because there are too many of us. This is, by the way, why they're doing this. They know that they can't win in a fair election. They know they don't have enough ballot printers. That's why they're doing this. They're trying to keep Donald Trump out of the election because they're fucking terrified of this man. Anything that terrifies the Uniparty that much is probably our friend. And so I will definitely be voting for Donald Trump. I encourage all of you to do the same. Hell, even if you're overseas, come and take a holiday and knock on some doors and give the expat's opinion or something like that. It'd be probably good for some people. That's about all. Peace out.